I decided that this year on Inauguration Day, I unplugged my television. I have
Th
no
this past year. Okay.
and I don't need to get in I need not say anymore. I just don't need to listen to everybody else's news. I can read it in the morning. If I really wanna watch a replay of the news, and I choose PBS or NPR or something like that, or BBC, I
Ooh.
will find it replayed, or I can streamline it or whatever I wanna do, I can find it on my computer, and I have found that I have so much more time to read a book, to talk to my friends in the evening or something, and I don't get as nervous. I don't get as no, I shouldn't say nervous. I don't consider myself nervous, as anxious about things.
Anxious, anxious.
I don't have that anxiety. And I also turn off my cell phone, my computer, and my iPad, all 3 things. Usually, well, I always turn them off when I'm ready to go to bed. Sometimes I'm up later than not other times. And I get annoyed at myself when I'm too busy sending something late at evening because it never goes out correctly anyway because I'm half asleep when I'm doing it. So I've learned not to do, but I try not to. I don't know. I'm not perfect at that, especially sending a text to a friend or something. However, I find I sleep much better and I don't get as anxious. And because somehow I don't need to hear ad infinitum discussions of other people's opinion when next day it could be totally different anyway. And why should I be concerned about that? I mean, I am aware of what's going on and I do stay up with the news, but I don't drink it in like I used to.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to deal with this stuff.
Yeah, it gives me time, alone time with other things that I think also too is a part of maturation and a maturity of mind, spirit, and body,
Mhm.
that I have to give time for rest. And I didn't used to ever. I would have never said that. Even 10 years ago, I would have never said that. Maybe even 5 years now. I don't know. I'm getting much more philosophical. And I realize that, it's just okay to just sit and watch. And that's what the ocean does to you, right? Don't you can't you just sit there for an hour and just watch the waves come in and see the little turns along the firm water, the little birds, and watch the seagulls try to catch a fish? I mean, it's like, wow.
You know what Rumi says? This is lovely that you're saying. Rumi says, in stillness and quiet, you will hear all the noises and voices that you need to hear. Only in stillness and quiet. So, because all this wisdom and information that we need to know is already out there, but we have so many distractions around us that will not allow us to hear what we actually need to hear, which is from here.
I agree. I applaud you for saying that. Thank you for saying it so eloquently because I agree 100%. You're perfect like that.
Oh, you know what? I took a class with T. Harv Eker. He's a financial person and he teaches about, it's a millionaire mind class. And he said something very interesting that I started actually following ever since, that do not watch news. Just take the news out of your lifestyle routine. And I started not intentionally watching the news or turn the TV on to see the news. And he said, you will see how focused you will get, not receiving all this distractions and negative energy in your day and in your mind. And then I realized, yes, because in one of my meditations with Louise Hay, she also said, whatever you need to know will be revealed to you anyway. So do not really force yourself and go out of your way to know everything, because the energy that you can put into something that is not necessarily good for you can be used for healing and growth and learning all the things that you are actually that are good for you to learn.
You're actually right. I think that is hard for people that are younger and that have families and trying to make a living and support their families and good job and make enough money to pay the rent, blah 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 blah, and they get caught up in all that. And I have to admit, I can do that too. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the news. It's just me. I get into something and I feel like I can do this, I can do that. And I get out and then I say, wait a minute, where's your serenity in here? And sometimes it takes a big shock to kind of like get you out of it.
Right? Right?
It's not, I would love to constantly be Zen, and I'm not always Zen.
Sad. In your opinion, after traveling this much in your life, you appreciate more freedom or belonging?
Oh, both. I can't say more.
You can't say, okay.
I can't say that. For instance, my latest trip was just in June, and
Yes.
I was on the Queen Mary, no, the Queen Elizabeth, and she'd been refurbished, and she'd come from Melbourne, Australia, all the way up and to Japan, picked up people in Melbourne, in New Zealand, and then in Japan, and then they came up with the Northern Passage, and I boarded the vessel in Seattle. And so I flew, and my daughter came with me. Now my daughter is 54, and we hadn't taken a big trip together. We'd done other stuff together. So I told her, I said, I'm taking this trip. And I said, would you like to come with me? And she said, of course. And because took a sabbatical, she could do it. So she's a professor. So we had a stateroom with a balcony. So that was great. So that we had outdoors, we could have our private spaces too. And we had such a good time. We had every night she would say to me, Mom, thank you for inviting me to come with you on this trip. And I'd say, you're welcome. Thank you, Paige, for coming with me. And every night we had this conversation. And then some days we would get the giggles over everything. We'd start laughing about something that was stupid, of course, or whatever it was, or made it funny. And then we just couldn't stop laughing for the rest of the day. And one night I said to her, you know what? We have to stop laughing because my cheeks are hurting. You know? But that was just a small, intimate sort of thing that happened, which gave me such a wonderful sense of belonging, being family. But
Mhm.
also, we both decided at that moment that we wanted to take a trip with her brother and his wife. And then we invited my brother in law and his wife to come along. So at some point, we're going to do a family trip on some large or some vessel of some sort so that we don't have to pack and unpack. We get on the boat or the vessel or whatever you want to call it. And then we do our stuff and everybody does their own thing. But then we come back together for dinner, maybe if we feel like it. And if we don't want to be, that doesn't matter. And nobody has to worry about being the host or the hostess. So
Right.
that was something that was a sense of belonging. But also, it was so amazing. I don't know what I had in my mind about Alaska, but I experienced the majesty of the fjords, of the glaciers, the amazing beauty of nature. The those trees just grew up so straight and so huge. It is so beautiful. It would take, and kept saying, "Wow, wow," and it was so infectious, like, we were just and the air was so clean, and the water, the ocean, or the water around all the glaciers is clear. You feel like you can see the bottom. You can't, obviously, because it's so deep. But, for example, there would be little pieces of ice that would fall off once a glacier, broke into the water. And of course, they're melting. Yes, they are, but there's still plenty of ice yet to melt. And so I recommend you go. But it was just so fabulous. And I'd see these little pieces of ice in the water, and all of a sudden, one piece of ice would look like a swan, and the other one looked like a bird or something. This is ice that had just broken off. But then I noticed underneath the water, because it was so clear, you could see this white part of like a swan here, but underneath there was a whole 'nother part of that s chunk of ice. It was crystal blue.
Wow.
It was amazing, and what even came home more so was that sometimes when I would take a photo of something, and I'd see something in my what I was taking the picture of, the camera would pick up what was below it, and some of the photographs that both my daughter and I well, I'll give you examples. She took a picture of a, terrain up from we were on our, balcony, and she took a picture of the coastline, but she didn't realize that the bottom of the camera caught the whale that was in the water right next to our ship. So her friend said, "Oh my god, you caught the picture of a whale." She said, "No, I'm sending you the picture of the coastline." And then she looked again at her photo, and there was the whale. So, I mean, it was an experience in nature. Meanwhile, of course, on the Queen Elizabeth is very elegant and very charming and very wonderful, and yes, I had high tea, and yes, we had fabulous food and all that. Um, but it was an interesting experience. I'd never been on a big ship like that before, and I don't think I'd run out to do it every year, but it was really fun. It was really fun.
Has there any trip or travel that you have done that challenge your belief about yourself or others?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't believe it hasn't challenged myself. I really I think it first comes to mind is Bhutan, because they're supposed to be known as the happiest country, people are the happiest,
Yes.
and I realized, I as my experience of it was that they truly are happy, and they each have a uniform. Did you know that? Each person has a job, and whatever that job is, they wear a uniform, like sort of a kimono kind of thing or whatever, and
They
they
have
do
great festivals too, right?
what?
Great festivals?
Yes, they have great festivals, but also, it's a small country, so it's easier to manage small rather than masses, but also they have such great respect for their king and the queen, and even though it's a monarchy, it's it seems to be being very peaceful, and they're very, very clean.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, everything is just immaculate. Even in the worst of the worst, I mean, in the poorest of poor, it is clean. And, the little children going to school are so adorable, and and everybody has a respect for each other's job. The respect is quite remarkable. So, I didn't I don't know if that answers your question or not, but in Bhutan, I learned something. I just never been to Bhutan, so I said, "Sure, I wanna go." And then, of course, then, we climbed in the Himalayan mountains. I mean, that kind of stuff. That to me was fun and exciting and wonderful, and you know, it's good to, press well, for me, I like a challenge, so for me to climb some of that stuff was not that easy.
did you?
Oh, yes,
It's
yes.
like 10,
I didn't go
10,000
Mount
meters?
Everest, no, but we were up. We went up to the, bird's nest, or what it's called, the bird
Yes, I believe.
yeah,
Is it like is it the tiger's nest?
tiger's nest, yeah.
Tiger's nest, and it's like 10,000 feet above
Yes.
sea level.
Yeah, right.
How was it? How did you get up there?
by foot.
Oh my god, I can't wait. This is so beautiful. I was looking at the pictures.
It's so beautiful. It is really beautiful.
So beautiful.
But the people there are as beautiful as the scenery.
Well, you live in such beautiful nature. How can you not be?
Well, yeah, and you know, and their just whole spirit. Their whole spirit is so nice. I mean, it's very easy, you know. Oh my, it's just so everything is awesome, and yet we have awesomeness here too. You don't have to travel far away to unique and unusual places. I mean, I have people say to me, "You, why do you feel you need to go?" Because I want to see as much as possible for as long as I live. I want to have experiences. I want to be there, just have done that. Yes. Do I have a bucket list? Yes. I have a few things left. And I'm the easy places. I figure I can go when I get old. By some people's standards, I am old, but I don't feel I'm old. So I just want to go as long as I can physically make it.
I love it.
You
I
know,
love it. You are so inspiring.
thank you. Thank you. Well,
So I love speaking with you. One last question, Janine.
you can ask me anything you want.
I appreciate that. If you were to choose to live someplace else, I'm gonna give you two options.
Okay.
Two place else
Hmm.
besides where you live now.
Hmm.
And among all the places that you have traveled to, those count too. What would they be? Two places.
Two places.
Yes.
First comes to mind is the south of France.
Where in south of France?
Probably over in the, Bordeaux area. Yeah, I think so, in the Dordogne area.
Okay. Have you been to Aix-en-Provence?
Oh, yes, love that. You name any place there. I would love to live near, Moustier.
Okay.
Moustier is where they make beautiful porcelain, and their fields of lavender every year just blows your
So
mind.
you would live there for the rest of your life?
If I could, but I probably wouldn't wanna stay there for the rest of my life. I'd wanna go some other place.
Yep.
But I mean, that's one place where I mean, that's just first thing that came to mind. I know the south of France is a place where I find just very, very charming, and I love the way of life. I think it has the history. You know, the first time I went to Paris that was a long time ago. I realized they had a laissez-faire, being about the French, and I thought, you know, that's something I never experienced or didn't know anything about. And then I've subsequently been back not only to Paris, but the south of France. I've toured around Morocco. I mean, all the Mediterranean, the whole thing. I love it. I think, and this is not your answer that you expected, but I think what I would like to do, if I had a choice of anything I could do, where it could be, and I had the money to allow me to do it, I would keep my base right here in New York City because I love the city and the vibe, which you know that. Oh, okay. But I would travel 6 months to anywhere that I decided I wanted to go. I would be home for like 10 days to do whatever I want to do here. And then for the rest of the time, I'd be out and about. I've always dreamed of starting here, going all around the world. And I remember as a young kid, teenager, I wanted to take the TWA, Trans World Airlines, trip around, buy that ticket, go around the world. I would love to do that.
As long as you can.
Yes, as long as I can, I will. I will. I mean, I'd like to go. And I used to say I work so that I can travel.
Yes.
That's my goal. So I could just think of all the travels I've done and all the time I've spent. I've gotten back more than any of the money that I would have saved in my bank.
I'm sure.
So it's enrich my life.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
So that's what I do. And I'd like to spread joy everywhere I go.
Well, you're doing a great job at it.
Well, yeah, remember, we just recently bumped into each other at the
We
farmer's market,
did.
right?
We did. And I'm so happy that we did because that was
That's right.
the invitation for this.
That's right. That's right. We keep meeting in different situations, and I'm still laughing, and I hope you're still laughing too. Of course.
Thank you so
I love
much.
your
This has
spirit
been
too.
amazing. Thank you so
And
much,
always
Janeen.
it's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Pleasure is all mine.